We have been really focusing a lot of energy the last 2 or 3 years trying to come up with what is Hartland as a whole. And we're very, very lucky to have 4 important cogs within our community. They are the school district, and Mr. Van Epps is here today for that. We have the library, Cece is here with that. Katie Chuba with the Chamber of Commerce, and the Hartland Township Board itself. We have met twice so far, and we call ourselves a group of partners in progress. And what this does, it allows us all to get all of our different entities together and talk about and share not only a relationship, but where we're headed so we can all communicate with each other. Because we feel together versus 4 different silos, together as a community, we are going to be that much better as we go forward in this wonderful town of Hartland. We're working on a brand for our community as it stands right now. We're maybe 6 to 8 months away from that. And then we'll have a Hartland Living website that'll be available, and it's going to be a one place, everything that's going on in Hartland, you'll be able to go to that one website, you'll be able to see what's happening at the schools, what's happening at the libraries, events that may be happening at the township. So again, it's going to be a portal for everything that's happening in our community. We think that'll be a great resource so you can kind of go to one spot and see what's going on that coming weekend. And it is Hartland Living, that'll be the website that we have. We've got a lot of things moving in Hartland itself. Again, we talked about the library, the cultural center, the music hall and such in downtown. And the businesses are a huge part of our community. We were chatting a little bit earlier about our main business district that is right on M59 in US 23. The village is an important area for us as well. And we are working diligently here at the township, going through our zoning ordinance, going through all the different things that we have. We have, it's called online, it's called clear zoning. So if you ever want to try to build something, like a deck or whatever else, all that information is online. It's called clear zoning, Hartland Township Ordinance. And actually, it'll allow you to follow through how to do a lot of the processes itself. And we're one of the few communities that has that. And at the end of the day, it makes it more user-friendly, and everything's right available at the comfort of your own office or home. So again, we're trying to make things easier to get through the process. As we all know, time is money, and it's valuable for everybody. The quicker and the easier we can make things happen for people, the more successful they're going to be, and it's easier to get through the process. Just recently, we actually changed 5 zoning ordinances that are making things easier to get along with. Again, all of that information is available on our website. All of our agendas, all of our minutes, and all of our regular meetings are archived for you to go back and take a look. So we try to be transparent with all that as we can be. All of our meetings are open to the public, so if it's a work session itself, you're more than welcome to come and sit. WHMI is here today as well, and they have the fortunate position to sit through a lot of our work sessions. And I'm sure that they're pretty excited about being here every night. But again, we're excited about our community as we're going forward, not only just as a community, but our businesses are an important part of that as well. Here's a picture of the new Tony Sackos, who just went through a remodel. The chamber is an important part of our community as well. They're very, very active, and Katie has done just a wonderful job with their organization, and again, you can see everybody's having a great time. We talk about smart growth, and we look at our ordinance. We will be, in the near future, looking at our comprehensive plan. We have not done that since 2004. We do look at it every year. However, it's been about 15 to 16 years since we've done that. We will be going back through that process. It's very, very lengthy. And there will be community involvement with that as well. But it's important because you're basically looking from this point forward 20 years where we're headed. We try to do sound planning, and probably the most difficult thing that we do as a community is when you have a different use, i.e. a commercial adjacent to a residential use. Those are very, very sensitive. We want to make sure that we're keeping both of those entities in mind, and there's not one that's better than the other, but at the end of the day, our zoning ordinance allows us to make those as harmonious as possible. Well, here is just a small list of things that we have going on in our community right now. Imagine Theater, as we all know, that's in the Ramco development. They hope to open this fall, I've heard as early as Thanksgiving, but I'm sure they'll be open by the end of the year. Wayne Homes has a new model home on M59. FEA Jewelers just opened up right next to Leo's Coney Island. The Town and Country Vet Clinic, I drove by there yesterday on my way to church. It looks like they're not too far away. They've got their landscaping in. Rallies is actually a Checkers. It's next to it's where the old Taco Bell was, and they got their new sign up here this weekend. Bella Vita Senior Center, that is a senior care facility being constructed at the old golf driving range on M59. Ben Franklin Plumbing is moving along fine. They're on Old 23, south of 59. And the next ones are in queue. They've got their permits. Flagstar Bank. Hartland Brewery is going to be, I believe, where Kahuna Coffee used to be. And the nice family that is doing that owns M59 West. And I believe they're going to actually brew their own brew. So that'll be exciting for our community as well. And then the Clyde Road Industrial Site, that's on Clyde Road in Old 23. It's on that southwest corner. That is was just recently purchased by a company, and they are actually moving forward on that entire site. They are going to be moving the infrastructure that's there from a development a couple of years ago, but they are in the process of just constructing that here in the near future. So as you can see, there's a lot of not only commercial elements going on, but we do have some homes. The Capital Home Program, that's the Venture Church. And then we have Mayberry Homes, that's in queue. That's on M59. They have been in queue for a long, long time, but they are getting closer and closer to start that project. And then we have the Hartland Village Manor, who has been approved for 20 additional sites at their senior care facility. So just a couple of quick stats. I asked Jim Heslop, how are we really doing compared to previous years? In 2013, we had 22 new home sites being built in our township. Last year, we had 65. And through the end of September this year, we had 40 new housing starts. So we're about double, almost triple to what we were 5 years ago. And we see that trend continuing. Our light industrial in our community, there's not an awful lot of it, but we are at 100% occupancy, and we have been at 100% occupancy for light industrial for the last 7 years. So that's a real good number. Our commercial, we have office space is 94% occupied, and our retail is 87% occupied. And I asked Jim, what do those numbers look like compared to another community? He said, whenever you're at that 90 or plus percentage, he says you're doing very, very well, because there is some turnover as well. No, not every business makes it, or they move on to a different area to grow as well. So we're real strong when it comes to our community with housing starts, commercial and retail as far as occupancy, and that's a real important number too. Family friendly. We are going to be having our 4th Winterfest. We've moved it back this year to February 9th. Last year it was warmer on Winterfest Day than it was on April 20th. As you remember, Mother Nature kind of threw us a curveball for a while there. Although, I think we almost had a record crowd out there last year. It was beautiful. So we're going to move it back a couple weeks and see if we can't have Mother Nature make it a little bit more like Winterfest than Fall or Springfest. And then the other big community gathering we have every year is the Memorial Day Parade. And if it wasn't for the efforts of the Community Council, that just wouldn't be even close to what it is. As a matter of fact, it might not even exist. And there's several people in the room today. Thank you so much for your time and effort, because that's a big production, but it really does showcase Hartland as just a wonderful place, not only to visit, but to raise a family as well. If we didn't have the elements that are up here, these are the little things that add up to big things to make our community just spectacular. And they are our schools and community ed. What they do over there is just phenomenal. And I think there's a lot of other communities that are jealous of what we have here. Matter of fact, a lot of the people from outside our community come and take advantage of our senior center and community ed. The teen center continues to do very well. That's at the old Township Hall. They're getting between 35 and 45 people, or students, a day going to that. And somebody within our community has offered a large a gift, so they can now have a summer program there. And we have a trustee who has maybe gotten a, what's that thing called, the garden center? Matt? It's called a hoop house. I didn't know what a hoop house was, and I guess I still really don't understand what a hoop house, but it's like an enclosed garden. And they're hoping to start doing some things with the students over there this summer as well. And our cultural centers are really important. And there's some people that take care of these and just wonderful volunteerism. The music hall, the Deering Museum, I know they had an event here this weekend, and of course the Cromaine Library. And if it wasn't for the friends and the kids using our parks, Haya Community Soccer, the list goes on and on and on. If we didn't have a good partnership with those, we wouldn't have the fields and the programs that we have today. And all that's, a lot of that's volunteerism that you see up there. And again, that's what really makes our community special. And here's a picture, if you haven't had a chance, and it's kind of nice out right now, take a drive out after we're done with our program when you leave. Go down and check out our pavilion right down here at Settlers Park. Here you'll see the Livingston County Concert Band. They had a wonderful turnout, and they had such a good turnout, they're actually going to come back here maybe 2 times next year. And it's just a wonderful venue. We've had Hartland Soup down there. They have kids running and little tykes learning how to run. And it's just it's a wonderful place to bring your family. And if you want to have a family reunion, those are available. You just have to come into the township. There's no cost. Just come up to the township and make sure that it's going to be available for you that weekend. Last year we had the grand opening of 2 of our parks. The picture you see here before us, and you're wondering why people are wearing helmets with me with a big pair of scissors. They're actually it's a mountain biking group. And they started about a 1.5 mile track over here, right behind me at Settlers Park about a year and a half ago. And they are coming before us in the near future to expand that in 2 different phases throughout the whole park. And it's those people that are doing all that volunteerism, they're utilizing that park, and it's just it's great to see it being used. And every time I drive by here, sometimes several times a day, there are always families out utilizing that park. And we're fortunate to have that. It brings a community together. And again, those are available. If you're interested, contact the township. And it's been a long time since our kids were young enough to go on one of these slides. So when this thing was built, I said, Kay, do you think that thing would hold me? And no, I haven't gone on it yet, but it does look like a lot of fun. I'd probably end up getting hurt of some way. But at the end of the day, you're wondering, well, where did we get all this money to do this park project? Well, we have worked diligently as a community. We do not have a millage or a special assessment or anything for our parks. Our parks were all money that was coming out of general fund. We were patient, we took our time, and as you can tell, we built quality places for people to be able to gather. And at the end of the day, when you see those little ones down there and the parents on these swing sets and playgrounds, it's just brings a smile to your face, because it is doing exactly what we wanted it to do. And one of my favorite parts of the park is there's a little drinking fountain for dogs. Now, I'm not a big dog guy, but at the end of the day, you go down and put your foot on it, and the dog can have a little water. I thought that's pretty cool, whoever invented that. And on where we are with our money as well, we still have a 1-to-1 fund balance, meaning we have 1 year's revenue, very, very close to it. It's about 95%. And we just got a AA plus bond rating. So again, we're making and doing everything we can to make our township financially strong. And on another solid note, our 2018 and 19 budget was less than last year's budget, and that had to do with the Headley override. I believe it was 0.778, something like that, on a millage that used to be 1.3 in Hartland. So we're living within our means, and we're doing everything we can to give back to the community. And we did a lot of discussion about the roads. So we do have a couple good notes. This is actually Hartland Road, I believe, looking from the Ramco development going south. If you've noticed that sidewalk, every time they put a chunk of it in, about 2 days later, there's somebody else riding their bike on it. It's amazing how many people are riding on that. And walkability in a community is very, very important. And when I talked about looking at that 1980 planning where we wanted to go for walkability, believe it or not, that sidewalk was planned in 1980 to be built. And here it is, 2018. Hey, we got it built. So, but anyway, the walkability is really, really important, not only for current, but as communities go together, because we're going to, as time goes on, we need to be able to walk from place to place, keep our exercise and that type of thing. It's really, really important. And your township board, and this was paid for by general fund dollars as well. A couple other items real quick on, you'll like to hear this one. Hacker Road and M59 will have a stoplight next year. We just heard that from MDOT. As we all drive around this community, we know that will be a real benefit. And I'm going to make sure Joe Hewen takes care of that before he moves on. But we painted these lines on M59s. You know how you double stack right out here, and they're single lane lines, and it's much safer. I had my druthers as to if that was going to be better or worse, and it's made it a lot better and a lot safer. And then one of our favorite spots is the M59 left turn into Ramco across, it's like kitty corner from Big Boy. MDOT has promised us a LED no left turn light, correct, James? And that's supposed to be in, if not this fall, this spring. So those are just some of the things that we understand that we all have to drive through our community, and we're trying to do the best it can to make it fluid as possible. Friendly by nature, that was a tagline that we started here a long, long time ago. And as we get older and we start looking at the important resources as a community, the one thing that we have in Michigan that the rest of the world really doesn't have, and we kind of take advantage of it, is water. And water is going to be one of the most important things, that, just my opinion, in the next 100 years. So it's, you'll see the two headwaters. There's one going to Shiawassee, one going to Huron, and even the little place where we live, it says on the creek, it says it's ours to protect, and it really is ours to protect. So we've offered some engineering standards. It's not mandatory within our ordinance, but if you follow some of these things that are green infrastructure, there might be some bonus density and that type of thing, because we're really trying to encourage the green infrastructure in our community. And a lot of that came from the schools. The schools is one of the first, if not the first, green school in the state of Michigan. And I think that's the way that worked out. And if you look behind there, they got the big DTE. Thank you. Solar panels. And then they got the little windmill and stuff. But they're teaching the students here in town as well that it's an important thing as we look future. And even we're getting rid of coal plants and everything else. And we really think that having green infrastructure, especially in our commercial development, is an opportunity to continue that movement. We just recently, and tomorrow night we'll finalize it's called a PACE program. It's a property assessed clean energy. Not a lot to do with that, but a big commercial place, they can come in and then they get a special assessment on infrastructure like urinals that don't use a lot of water, LED lights and that type of thing. And to make a long story short, they can get a special assessment, get a very, very low amount of loan as long as they save as much as what they borrow. And that's an exciting thing. And our whole township will be available to be part of that PACE program. And we're also working with the Land Conservancy. We have some invasive species. One is Phragmites. We're going to try to do a pilot study with them next year. And another real problem that we're having right now in certain areas is called oak wilt. And we're working with, Gene's working with some different partners on that to make sure that we as citizens have an awareness of what's happening. And Matt Germain, Governor Snyder just appointed Matt to his Environmental Permit Review Commission. And Matt's a licensed professional engineer with a degree in environmental engineering. And Hartland and the state of Michigan are lucky to have you as part of that. So congratulations, Matt. And then we go to cleanup day. We had a wonderful cleanup day this year. We had 450 vehicles show up on May. It's usually the second week in May, I believe. We had 3 scrap metal dumpsters, 2 tire dumpsters, 2 roll-off-the-trash dumpsters, each in 30 yards each, and 3 residential rubbish trucks. That was all stuff that came out of our garages and out of our roads and every place else. And that's a lot of stuff. I think this is the 4th or 5th year that we've done that. and it continues to be a great success. And it just shows that people are willing to wait a little bit and keep that stuff in their garage until they can get rid of it in the right way. So thanks to our entire community for following that. And again, it's a green initiative that we have. And I know I'm throwing a lot of different information out, but if you go to the heartlandtwp.com/green, you'll see a lot of information where you can utilize and upcoming events so we can take care of our environment. And just briefly, this is an initiative that the Township Board has started to take. It's a green community. We just kind of put our toe in the water with this year. The Michigan Green Communities is a partnership of the Michigan Municipal League, the Michigan Association of Counties, and the Michigan Township Association. And we are pleased to say that we just received a bronze star, just getting, again, our toe in the water. We hope to continue to do this and just let, more than anything, educate and let people know that there are opportunities out there for us to have a green environment to live in.
So I am privileged to announce the names of all the volunteers that were nominated for this year's Hartland Friendly by Nature Volunteer of the Year. And this is the most nominations we've received out of all the years we've been doing this. So I'm going to read these names, and I'm not too sure if these folks are here, but if you are here, please stand. So we have Mr. Larry Chofu. Larry has been active with the Lions Club, obviously the Hartland Township, as we know, the Hartland Area Community Council, Memorial Day Parade, Winterfest, Vice President of the Livingston County Municipal Clerks Association. So thank you, Larry. Stephanie Furge, in the back there waving. Stephanie is involved quite a bit with Hartland Soup. You have to check that out. It's a great thing. Hartland High School PTO, the Drama Club, Hartland Schools Parent Advisory Council. So she's a busy lady. Rick Gordon, is he here this evening? No? Hartland Varsity Softball. He runs that whole program. Marie Kennedy, is she here? Hartland Band Boosters. Pat Kloss. Did I say her name correctly? Is Pat here? Hi, Pat. Pat, Hartland Senior Center. Thank you, Pat. And Tony Linfield, is she here this evening? Tony's active with Hartland Schools, Hartland Football, and the Hartland community. Becky Linton, is she here today? Hartland Schools, Boy Scouts, and the First Lego League. Mary Lynn Thompson, is she here this evening? Livingston Women's Club, Friends of Cromaine Library, Hartland Senior Center, Village Manor, and the Connection Teen Homeless Shelter and her church. So she's a busy lady as well. So the winner is Kathy Farhat Tomaszewski, and she is here with us this evening. Please stand. Wave. We're gonna honor Kathy in a few minutes after this short video, but Kathy is the Hartland Be Bold, Go Gold. I don't know if you're aware of that. What an amazing program she has put on. She is a dedicated community person. She works, the Be Gold, Go Go program is for the Hartland Consolidated School District Pediatric Cancer Initiatives. So thank you, Kathy, and congratulations.
The rewards really are life-changing. I'm Kathy Farhat Tomaszewski. So I have lived with my family in Hartland for 15 years. I am happily married, mother of 4, was a school teacher before having kids, and since then I have dedicated all of my free time to volunteering in the pediatric cancer community, fundraising for childhood cancer research. Well, my daughter Madison, who's 22, she's a senior at Grand Valley. She is a cancer survivor. She was diagnosed with stage 4 hepatoblastoma back in 1999 when she was 3 years old. Undergoing that whole treatment It really changed our lives. It was life-changing, and I realized how very little federal research funding there is for pediatric cancers, and that bothered me. So I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to be part of the solution. And part of the solution was starting small in my neighborhood, raising awareness, putting up some signs the month of September, putting up ribbons, making people aware, and then from that it just blossomed. So we have a program initiative called Go Gold for Kids with Cancer. We do a lot with all the schools. This is really an inclusive initiative, the entire district, from elementary all the way up to the high school. So we have t-shirts that we sell. This year we had sponsored jerseys that people could purchase and sponsor for either a survivor or to advertise their business. Raising awareness and research funding is super important, but I'm also trying to change the dialogue around childhood cancer, to get people talking about it, to not be afraid to discuss it with families who are going through treatment. I really feel that my foundation is my faith, and my faith teaches me to give back and to serve, and I feel very blessed that I'm able to do that. It feels very good to be able to give back to others and to serve my community.
Before we have Kathy come up here, I'd like to invite some of the partners in progress that Bill spoke about to come up and help me award Kathy with our Certificate of Volunteer of the Year.